Let's
Right
go.
now, so I can hit record, it's whenever y'all want to.
Go ready to go.
There we go.
Good morning. We'll call the governance committee meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to accept September 21st, 2022 governance committee meeting minutes. They were sent out and any revisions were sent back, so we will accept them for the record. Next on our agenda is opening the meeting to public comment. If there's anyone zooming in or here that would like to speak, we'd ask you to give us your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to make your presentation to the committee. Is there anyone who would like to speak this time? Okay, seeing or hearing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to our action items. First one is a review, discussion, recommendation to accept an application from GMS Realty for a leaseback transaction to facilitate the financing of the acquisition, renovation, and equipping of the property and building located at 219 Vestal Avenue in the village of Endicott, provide for a sales and use tax exemption benefit in the amount not to exceed $560,000, provide for a mortgage tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $78,800, provide a real property tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $1,416,295, and authorize the agency to set and conduct a public hearing with respect thereto. Okay, Stacy.
Sure, thank you. If I may, just administratively, kind of housekeeping item. Can I ask everyone that's on Zoom, some of the names I know, but just to fill out maybe in the chat name and organization they're representing, so we can, for record keeping purposes, because I know we typically have a sign in if you're in person. So sorry, just a little housekeeping item there. So this is an application for consideration by the board for GMS Realty. As was noted, the Vestal Avenue property might be better known as the former Kmart in the village of Endicott. GMS Realty LLP will be looking to purchase and modernize the site at 219 Vestal Ave. Its affiliated entity, Green Mountain Electrical Supply, is a wholesale supplier of electrical supplies and a third-generation family-owned business since 1953. GMES will use the modernized facility for electrical materials and supplies in connection with its wholesale business. The facility will help fulfill its 11 New York branch locations, including the recent location that opened in Binghamton. As a location for its wholesale business, GMES will have material coming from its vendors, storing it, and then shipping it out to and for its branch locations. The size of the proposed project, GMES will not be doing any additions to the building, however, quite a bit of renovation. The building is approximately 100,000 square feet. It will be a renovation of the current building and its approximate 17 acres. GMES also plans on donating land to the village to accommodate a walkway path from the school to the area behind the McDonald's, while also giving enough land for the municipality to provide new park space. The impact on downtown Endicott, GMES is a high growth company with ties to local communities. The village of Endicott is now one of those communities. The building will be fully renovated along with the property, and instead of being an eyesore, it will now be a location that the village can once again be proud of. On top of that, job implication is that GMES will be looking to hire 20 or more people after the completion of this project to help the community with jobs that include warehousing positions, drivers, and some management positions. Most recently, for the board's information, GMES was awarded $350,000 by New York State through the Restore Communities Grant Program. That was just announced by the governor via press release yesterday. And in addition, it is a consideration for a roughly, I think, $3.1 million DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative project. The village was a recipient of DRI funds last year, so we're waiting to hear the final what the final projects that the state will ultimately approve. This was highly ranked by the local planning committee for the Endicott DRI, so we're confident it should receive that funding. The pilot benefit, the pilot schedule has been provided in your packet. It is the first of our industrial projects within the new UTEP that we established earlier in the year. So it is a 15-year standard pilot program. A project review form and cost benefit analysis have also been provided. So I will entertain any questions. We also have Luke Choquette. Hopefully I said that correct, Luke, correctly, on the line from Green Mountain.
What's the total cost of the project again? You had that?
The total cost of the project, I have that here for you.
Like 12.4.
12 point, yes, I was gonna say roughly 12 million.
Okay.
Construction jobs will be 75. Payroll over a period of 3 years is roughly 1.3 million. And the pilot benefit will be, the total exemptions will be roughly $2 million. The pilot benefit will be 1.9 as broken out in your schedule. It's roughly, we always look at the, the benefit, striving for somewhere in a 55-45 mix. The benefit to the developer is roughly 42%. So it's certainly not within, or, outside of the boundaries of what a pilot would strive to reach.
The 20 job projection is a good number. Is that, do they have a timeline for that? Is that over a certain amount of time or?
That I would refer to Luke, certainly over the 3-year period that we would, that we would review. But Luke-
Hi there, folks. Luke from Green Mountain Electric Supply here. The 20 would be right off the bat on day one. So we're hoping for December 1st of 2023 date, and the 20 employees would be right off the bat. And then we're hoping that it would grow up to 30 to 50 employees within a 3 to 5 year time frame.
Good.
Why are those job numbers look like they're different than the calculation that MRB did?
So we kept the numbers low in the application to be confident that we would hit the numbers. But certainly we think we're going to blow those numbers out of the water.
So you're referencing this line here, Jim?
Oh,
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
you have the first group of boxes from MRB is
would be
is
temporary. yeah,
construction jobs.
Yes. but
The second group of ongoing operations show four direct, 5 indirect, for a total of 9. And
Right,
I'm
it didn't pull it correctly. I'm sorry, I don't know.
So that's probably just something with ours. So our,
Software.
I mean-
our software, we input those numbers, so we can go back and double check that.
well, I mention it because I know
No,
this is the first one with the new schedule. And we haven't done that many with MRB.
Yeah.
And it, those numbers should align.
Should
I
absolutely.
mean, in
Yeah.
this case, it actually
It would
makes
enhance.
it actually makes the benefit
But we will
more
correct
favorable,
that,
but
yeah.
it's still incorrect.
Absolutely, we'll
Yep.
correct that.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's
Well, and I think it's a valid point because one of the key things, we keep hearing about is, with pilots is what are what's the actual job creation? How many jobs are being created? And there's obviously a difference between 9 and 20.
Right. Well, and I going to your point, I think, the report that we're getting now, the independent report from MRB,
Yeah.
I think really does a nice job of kind of framing what the benefit really looks like. They discount it. So you've got discounted rate, you can kind of see what the flow looks like.
Mhm.
In this case, they ran it at 9, it turns out to be 20, so it's going to be better than it looks like.
But right.
But
they should align.
I think this
Absolutely.
is useful in a couple of respects.
Mhm.
Useful on an individual project, but I think it's also useful, as we get more data to compare one project's benefit package to another. in a
Yeah,
sta-
we'll
in a-
start
in a
comparing
standard
those.
way.
I agree.
Stacy,
We will send it updated with the job numbers in there.
first time I'm seeing these type of applications.
Sure, yeah.
Trying to understand the assessment. So the current assessment that is on the piece of property now,
Yes.
and who owns that? Who owns the real estate now?
It is privately owned. Have they closed? Have you closed, Luke? No, so
No,
there's.
not yet. I think it's considered Rock Properties, I think is the name. And we're hoping to close sometime in mid-January.
You know what they're paying in property taxes today?
It-
The current order.
It should
Right here.
be right there on your project review form, so the current assessment.
So the full taxes they're paying right now on, there's technically 3 different properties. It's roughly $13,000 to school property.
Thanks.
Mhm.
And I guess Luke or Stacy, will this be a consolidation of the Binghamton location into this location?
I do
Uh,
not,
No, it will not. So our Binghamton location in Robinson Drive or Robinson Road will continue to act as a standalone branch. And this will just be a central distribution hub for all of our New York locations.
mhm.
And this is just setting the public hearing, so we
Yes.
will get local stakeholders input thereafter.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So this, the action to accept the application just allows us to schedule the public hearing in the village sometime prior to, our next meeting.
Okay, is there any additional questions for, the ownership team or for Stacy? Okay, is there a motion? Motion Jim, second Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Next item is the, resolution accepting an application from Archuska Productions LLC authorizing a new state and local sales and use tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $18,160 for a term not to exceed 12 months, consistent with the policies of the agency in connection with the renovation and equipping of a suite 120 at 49 Court Street in the city of Binghamton.
Yes, so this is a sales tax, a small business incentive program, and sales tax only exemption application. 49 Court Street is also, you know it probably better, as the Metro Center, which is owned by Marchuska Productions LLC. They are looking to renovate suite number 120 for Ramble America's Engineering Solutions. Ramble, I know, has a base in Syracuse. They had purchased O'Brien and Gear several years ago. They do not, to my knowledge, have any presence in the Binghamton area. So this would be this renovation and setup of a new office for Ramble. So there would be indirect new jobs related to this as a tenant of the building. So the total project costs are $347,000. The value of the exemption would be $18,160. I do believe Justin Marchuska is on the Zoom if anybody has questions for him.
Is there any questions for Justin or Stacy? Well, these are the exact kind of jobs you want in downtown Binghamton, professional
Absolutely.
office jobs, which is like a foundation course for there. So I think that's gonna be a nice addition.
Mhm, absolutely.
Any questions or comments?
No, nice to see this addition.
Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
There's a second? Motion by Peter, second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried.
I'm gonna abstain. I'm not.
One abstention from Cheryl. Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have a resolution accepting an application from 78 Main Street LB4 Properties, authorizing a New York State and local sales and use tax exemption in an amount not to exceed $35,064.18 for a term not to exceed 12 months, consistent with the policies of the agency in connection with the demolition of a building located at 78 Main Street in the village of Johnson City. And the renovation, installation, and equipping of the property and building located at 6 Main Street in the village.
Yes, so this is another small business incentive program application, looking for sales tax exemption from the board. The project sort of has two parts. So 78 Main Street, LB4 Properties is the LLC that will be doing the project. The renovation is 6 Main Street Terrace. So the project description of the 6 Main Street Terrace is one of the first properties you see when you cross the bridge from Binghamton into Johnson City. Along with 78 Main Street, right next to it on the left side of 6 Main Street. So hopefully the picture you all have with your packet will give you some context. Has been vacant for a number of years now and needs repairs. The company specializes in these types of projects. We do have a project with Mr. Locke, which is 109 Oak Street in the city of Binghamton. And 78 Main Street Terrace will be knocked down to allow for more parking. Once complete, this building, 6 Main Street Terrace, will be one of the premier market rate apartment buildings in the area and will be used to attract local people back to the area. It's close enough to the hospital, can provide safe and modern housing that is in walking distance for hospital and other professionals in the downtown Johnson City area. Each unit will be rented by the apartment. There will be 9 units once complete, 3 1-bedroom, 3 3-bedrooms, and 3 2-bedroom apartments. The total project cost for this is $911,402. The sales tax benefit would be $35,064. And we do have Ben Locke on the call. There he is. If anybody had questions for him directly.
Okay, so this is being torn down. Now, where is this it over here, 6 Main, where's 6 Main Street Terrace?
Right there, that bit, that.
The
bit.
white
Yes,
building,
the white- no,
That's
6 is the one right in
Oh,
the
this-
center. That's
Yeah.
what's being renovated.
this one's being renovated.
Yes.
Which one's being torn down?
It's 78 Main behind.
Oh, it's not, it's a picture on the picture. now.
Yeah, so the picture, yeah, that Main Street. The one on the left is 78
Oh,
Main Street. That's the one being knocked down, right next to the corner where there's a discount appliance repair.
There.
Yeah, this one's coming down there.
Okay.
Is it the blue one or the white one that's been torn down?
The blue and white one is coming down.
Blue and white one.
Yeah, I drive by that all the time now, okay.
Okay.
Well, that'll be a positive addition, obviously, for the aesthetic purposes of Johnson City. How many units are you anticipating there?
9 units.
9 units? Okay. And it's, you're looking for market rate housing is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. Any questions or comments for Stacy? Okay. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion Cheryl, is there a second? Second Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the agency to enter into a contract with, what we decided to do, John, that you're here. Rather than have the presentation here and repeat it, we thought we'd just hold it to the meeting.
Good plan.
And that way, she doesn't do it twice and doesn't go through it twice, so we're gonna defer that to the full meeting. And the MDT, your presentation, is that gonna be here?
That's gonna be a good way forward.
Okay.
Yeah, just a kind of a year-end review.
Right, so we
Our
need to do that
investments
here.
for them, yeah.
And do we need an executive session here?
No, not for government.
Okay. So seeing no other items on the governance committee agenda, we'll move for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Cheryl, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Peter, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.